What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Rob, and in today's video we're going to be going over one of the most underrated flows that I see in the e-commerce niche. This flow is the site abandonment flow. I researched many e-commerce stores and work with a ton of e-commerce stores, and I hardly see them implementing this simple automation that will literally generate you a couple 5 to 10% of your total revenue by just using this flow. Pretty much what the site abandonment flow is when a visitor or someone who's already subscribed to your email list visits your website and they immediately click off without making any sort of action or behavior to put them in some other flow. Now, I like to break this down into a simple funnel. You have your site abandonment, then your browse abandonment, then your abandoned cart, abandoned checkout, and then they make that purchase, and then you have the post purchase after that. So right now we're going to be targeting the top of the funnel. That's going to be the cold traffic. Now, it's super important that you retarget them with a simple email once they've gone onto your site and made no further action or behavior. This will just keep you in front of your customer and allow them to maybe go ahead and make that purchase again, or move them down the funnel so they can eventually make that purchase. So we'll get right into the computer and I'll show you step by step how we set this flow up and how you can use it to be most effective when using Klaviyo or any sort of email marketing software. As always, make sure you like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what other videos you'd like to see in the future. I'll see you guys in the computer. Before we go ahead and start this video, I just want to show you something that's very cute and that I think deserves a like. So can we get a like for Maverick? Cutest dog in the world, please. Okay guys, welcome to the computer. We are on the handy dandy demo account today, and like I said in the intro, we will be going over how to set up a site abandonment flow. Like I did mention, this is going to be your top of funnel, so this is going to be probably cold traffic or maybe someone who's previously bought. It kind of depends. Like I said, it's going to be cold traffic, so typically how we usually have this set up is we break down the buying process into a couple of flows and funnel them in to eventually make that purchase, and then at the end upsell them to make them come back and buy more. So this is going to be your first top of funnel flow, so we got to make sure that we are delivering some sort of value to them, and let's get right into it. So I'm going to show you how to set up this flow and kind of what sort of emails that you might want to put in and how the length should be. And so let's get right into it. So as you can see on the demo account right now, we are on our dashboard. First, what we're going to want to do is we're going to build this from scratch. So we're going to go to our flows. So now we're on the flow page. We're going to go to create flow. So I'm going to pause it here real quick. Before we go any further, you do want to make sure that you have all the website tracking set up within your Klaviyo account. I made a previous video on how to set that up. It should be how to integrate your Shopify with your Klaviyo account. It goes over how to set up all the tracking so you have all your metrics in place so you can really measure and make sure this flow is being sent out when it should be. So to get started, like I said, we're gonna create this flow from scratch. So we'll just go to the top right and go scratch. We're gonna name this site abandonment. No tags necessary. We're gonna create that flow. All right, so we are left with this blank slate, so we can build it however we want. First, we're going to want to set up our trigger. And this is going to be a metric. And the metric that we're going to want to use is active on site. So this will only show up when you have actually integrated all the necessary tracking for your Klaviyo and Shopify account. So make sure that you have this active on site trigger here. So now we're going to want to add some flow filters. The first flow filter that I like to add is when someone has, let's see, checkout has started 0 times since starting this flow. So if we have people that are already going straight to checkout, we don't need to send them this email. They've already gone through the full funnel. There's no point in sending them this email. So another flow filter that I do like to set up, if you have a browse abandonment flow set up, you're going to want to add when someone has viewed product 0 times since starting this flow. So if you have that browse abandonment flow set up, they won't get this flow either because they've already viewed a product. So if they view that product, they'll receive the browse abandonment flow. So we're just making sure we're covering every funnel and make sure we're not overlapping any sort of the way. Another one that I do like to add as well is when someone has placed order 0 times since starting this flow. Again, we want to make sure none of these flows are overlapping. So if someone's already placed an order, they're going to receive that post-purchase customer thank you flow if you have that set up. And then another one I do like to add, just so we're not, spamming them every time that they come to the site, is has not been the flow in the last, and you can play around with this depending on the lifespan of your product. If you have a lot of people buying monthly, or if you have them buying like every 6 months, 30 days, you kind of have to play around with it. But in the last 30 days, so if last time they were in this flow and they say they made a purchase, then, and say your product, they usually buy within 30 days after that, then go ahead and leave this to 30 days. We just want to make sure that we're not spamming them every time they go to the website and they leave and they don't make that purchase, they're getting an email. You don't want to be spamming. You just want to make sure you're giving them a little bump, a little reminder. And then another one that you could also add is has placed an order, let's see, 0 times in the last, you can do 30 days as well. Say they placed that order 30 days ago and you want them to, that they're going to buy in 30 days, then they'll receive this email when they go to your website again and bounce in 30 days. But you can do like 7 days, also pretty good too. Usually I do 7 days. All right, let's move me back over here. All right, so we have our basic, trigger setup and some flow filters just to make sure, we're not overlapping any other flows that we have set up on our Klaviyo account. Now, the goal is to set up some emails. So typically you're going to want to do a time delay, and you can play around with this. What we're currently doing with one of our clients, we're actually A/B testing the time delay. So usually I like to keep it, a couple hours. Usually it's around 2 hours. But say you wanted to, say you already had a bunch of data and you just wanted to A/B test to see, should I do it 2 hours, 30 minutes, or should I do 4 hours? You can definitely play around with that. So what you want to do is do a conditional split before that time delay. And then you want to select your conditional split, select a condition, and you want to select a random sample and make sure it's 50%. So that, what this means, let me just add another time delay real quick. So here we'll do 30 minutes. Perfect. So basically what this conditional split will do is 50% we'll receive in 2 hours, and the other 50% will receive it in 30 minutes after they've activated this trigger. Next, it's time for the emails. So let's go ahead, drag our email over here. Now for the settings, I like to have the UTM tracking on, smart sending off, just because all the flows that we have set up, and the reason why we have all these flow filters is to make sure none of them overlap, so they're never in 2 flows at once. When I do send campaigns, I usually do use the smart sending to make sure that if they receive an email in the last 16 hours, we'll make sure that they won't get that campaign, just because they're already in a specific flow at that time. So we have all the settings correct. This is where you want to have fun and play around with it. We don't know what product they viewed or what their interests are yet. So we want to make sure that we're keeping it really broad and light. So typically for email 1, it might just be like, hey, you can't decide which product you want to buy. So that's what we'll do for email 1. And then you could even do like, here's some testimonials, here's some reviews of what people have bought. This is what they've had to say about it. You could even use some user-generated content in the email showing people with the product, maybe a short video of them unboxing the product and giving their reaction. That tends to work really well. But usually we don't want to be like hard selling, because we have no idea what they're interested in. If you have multiple products in your store, they could have XYZ products, but they might want XYZ products, but you're showing them AB product. Like you can't really like target them too well at this stage yet. So you want to keep it very light. So that's email subject number 1. And then we'll go ahead and add another time delay. We like to keep this site abandonment flow pretty short because we want to make sure we get them to buy or get them into to make some sort of action after that. So by keeping it short, they'll receive 2, they'd be done. Hopefully they go to the site, they browse the product, so they'll be put in the browse abandonment flow, or maybe they start a checkout and they'll be put in the abandoned checkout flow. So for the time delay here, we want to keep this fairly broad, or not broad, we want to keep it fairly spaced out. So let's do 22 hours. With this, you can also A/B test this as well. And then I'll just move myself over. And then we're going to want to add another email. Now, email 2 can just be a play off of what you did in email 1. If you really wanted to, you could even try testing an offer. So maybe they've bought before, so you could even put a conditional split right here saying, let's say we know that this person has bought before. So we can do someone has placed an order at least once over all time. So we know they've bought once, right? So maybe we want them to buy again. They've only bought once. Well, let's do equals, oh, here we go. So maybe like they've only bought once, right? The whole time they've ever been in your email list or a customer with you, they've only bought once. And maybe we're really pushing to increase our average order value or lifetime value. So maybe if they've only bought once, we want to make them buy it again. So maybe on this email, let me just save this real quick. There we go. So if they've placed one, maybe in this email 1, we give them an offer. Maybe it's a free shipping for 24 hours and we can give them a dynamic code. I made a video on that, so you can go check out the how to set up dynamic codes. But maybe it's free shipping and it lasts 1 day, so 24 hours. So they receive this email. Maybe it's a reminder to, or just telling them, hey, you got free shipping for the next 24 hours. And then email 2 is a reminder. So just like play around with it. The more email subscribers you have, and the more data that you have, the more complex you can kind of get with your flows. But if you're just starting out, keeping 2 emails is quite fine. Just, you know, like I said, testimonial here maybe, or a little bump reminder, and then either or. I recommend using some UGC. It really helps people get confidence to make that buying decision or move on to the next step of that funnel. Now, just to kind of wrap it up, if you wanted to do this A/B test of the time split, what you do is you could just clone your first email, and then you would drag it over here, and then you would want to drag this back to here. So say you got your timing down, or first you wanted to focus on A/B testing your subject lines or the content for that matter. What you do is you go into your email 1 and you just go here. After you have your email all set up, you go add variation, and then you can just do edit variation, and then you would just change maybe the subject line here, or you could change a call to action or the copy of the email. So that's the site abandonment flow. Like I said, this is a very underrated flow. I don't see enough e-commerce store utilizing this flow, and if they are, they're probably doing very well with it. This flow allows you to really funnel in that traffic to bring them into future flows and move them down the funnel to eventually make that purchase or that repeat purchase. So if you like this video and you found it value, make sure that you give it a like, subscribe, and leave a comment down below what other kind of videos you'd like to see, or if you guys are currently using the site abandonment flow. Also, if you are an e-commerce store that's making around $20,000 to $1 million per month and you aren't seeing the results that you like, or you just want to get started with email marketing, make sure that you go down in the description, click the link, and schedule a calendar with me. I'll offer you a free audit and go over your email marketing to make sure that we have everything set up in place and that you are on the right track to making the most out of your email marketing. And with that being said, have a great day. I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.